coverage on the conflict which is escalating in the Middle East, and the visuals behind me actually sum up what has transpired in the last 24 hours in Middle East. On my right here on the top are visuals of when Iran attacked Israel over 180 ballistic missiles, and then all the visuals that you see after that are of celebrations, the manner in which people in Iran celebrated this attack on Israel. Then you have visuals coming in of people from Iraq celebrating as well. Joining those celebrations were people from Lebanon. Gaza has backed the attack. Not just that, Jordanians have also expressed joy on the attack on Israel by Iran, which is Iran is calling an act of self-defense. Let's go across to Sanjoy Chaudhary. He is joined by a special guest. Yes, Sanjoy, over to you.
Yes, we have with us Roley Horowitz. And Roley Horowitz is remembered in India because when Prime Minister Narendra Modi was in Israel, Roley Horowitz was Prime Minister Modi's interpreter. Welcome to Times Now, Roley. You are in Jerusalem. You have been through this crisis, and you are going through this crisis. Last night was about a missile attack. 180 missiles were aimed at you and your country. Tell me about it. Tell me, where were you when these attacks began?
Good morning from Jerusalem. Shalom. Well, when the actual sirens went off, I and another friend of mine, who's also originally from India, both of us daughters of Indian Army officers, were in a supermarket. We had information that had just come in over the radio that there was going to be an imminent attack from Iran. And usually there's a time that, it takes a certain time. So we thought, given that it's the eve of a very important Jewish holiday, our New Year, we said, let's go to the supermarket. So while we were there, suddenly the sirens went off. In Israel, we are very well trained in that we've had to deal with this over a period of time. So we, as the population, know what to do. So we all went into the shelter. Every building has a shelter. And then we thought normally you wait for 10 minutes and nothing come out. So these 10 minutes extended because there was siren after siren after siren after siren. We were there for almost an hour. Amongst the population, those of us who were there, it would be interesting maybe for your viewers to know, there were Jews, there were Arabs, there were children, there were old people, there were just normal civilians, all of us there together in a calm way, supporting of each other, and just wondering what Iran is thinking.
Well, the way you put it, it must have been a harrowing experience because it would have been a reasonably small place. There were a lot of you. And tell us in India, how is an air raid shelter actually? How is this bunker? What does it look like? What does it feel like to be inside?
Okay, it's not very attractive. Basically, it's a room that's been fortified. In Israel, most of the buildings, like in my home, I live in a building that has 13 apartments. So we have a shelter down at the bottom. The IDF and the home command tell us we should run down to that shelter. So that room is a fortified, strongly fortified room, totally closed off with iron steel doors. So we run down to the shelter. We have electricity there. And we generally have to wait for about 10 minutes and then we can come out. That's the usual. It's not a very attractive room. In the case of the supermarket, there was not just the supermarket, there are other shops around there in a big space, like a small mall. So you run down to the shelter, which is like a staircase. It's basically a staircase going down. And there'll be, a few hundred people there at that time, because it was the busiest time of the evening. And you've got children over there, you've got elderly. What happens to a situation when there's somebody in a wheelchair or a lady with 3 or 4 children? These are things that people on the outside don't realize. The decisions and the timing Jerusalem in all of Israel has the most time to take cover, and that is 90 seconds. People in Tel Aviv have 60 seconds, and people on the borders have 15 seconds. So just imagine if you are a mother with 3 children driving in a car and you've got a siren, what is your situation? People don't realize the human situation of what the Israelis go through.
Yes, it's a harrowing experience, clearly. And 180 ballistic missiles is serious business. It's a serious threat. It's a serious danger to you and your country. But how are the people of Israel facing this? Because you've had attacks from the Hezbollah, and that's mostly in northern Israel. But this was spread all over Israel. It was on the eve of Rosh Hashanah, your New Year's, and a festival time. And suddenly you had 180 unexpected guests, literally, quote unquote, ballistic missiles aimed at you from Iran. It must be a difficult time. And clearly, what is the feeling like? What is morale like?
Okay, I have to say, Israel is a traumatized country as of the 7th of October, 2023. I think it's very important not to forget that date. 2023, where we were absolutely shocked and surprised and really very, very disturbing of the attack by Hamas. The day after that, on the 8th of October 2023, Hezbollah started firing rockets. I don't think the world media covers the Israeli side of this war that's been going on for almost a year. There have been more than 8,000 rockets sent to Israel by Hezbollah from Lebanon. Israel has no fight with the country of Lebanon. We've never had a fight with the country of Lebanon, with the government of Lebanon. But Hezbollah, who has hijacked Lebanon, I would say, has an issue, as does Iran, with the very existence of the state of Israel and the people of Israel. The world maybe doesn't realize that we are only 9 million people, 2 million of which are Arabs. So when they target us, I don't think the missiles of Iran or the missiles of Hezbollah or of Hamas have Jew only written on them. They target the entire nation. So we as an entire nation, whether we're Arabs, Jews, Druze, Christians, others, everybody, we all are threatened. And when you have a situation where the leaders of a large country like Iran can get up at the United Nations and make statements that it wishes to annihilate another state, and no one else walks out of that UN meeting when Iran makes statements like that, that's very frightening for Israel. And we just wonder where the rest of the world is, where is the balance? Israel is a tiny, tiny country, about 1/3 the population of the size of Delhi and the size of Mizoram. We're a very, very tiny country, and we are being bullied by Iran, by Hezbollah, by Hamas, the Palestinians, and all the others who are now ganging up on us. So we are traumatized, but we're very resilient. What Israel has done as a nation is that it disproportionately looks after its population. Whether it be our military, we have Iron Dome, so the Israelis feel very confident that their government, that their IDF, the Israel Defense Forces, are protecting us because we are aware of the neighborhood we're living in. We are aware that these people mean what they say when they say they want to annihilate Israel. So we protect ourselves. The fact that the government provides shelters, the fact that every bus stop in the cities and kibbutzim around Gaza have Bus stops are shelters. Every home has a shelter. Every school has a shelter. Every hospital is sheltered. That is disproportionate in the care that the government takes over its citizens in Israel, whereas we don't see that same responsibility on the other side.
Well, it's been a very difficult time for you, Roley, and everybody in Israel, and it could well go on for a lot longer. But thank you very much for speaking with us, and best of luck to you, and stay strong.
May I just say one thing, please?
Yes.
May I add one thing?
Yes, certainly, Roley. Please go ahead.
The one message that we as Israel have is that we need our hostages returned. Kafir Bibas was 9 months old. His brother, Ariel Bibas, was 4 years old 1 year ago, and they are still hostages in Gaza. The world has lost it when they think they can use hostages as bargaining chips. There should be a release of all the hostages with no preconditions. It should have happened on the 8th of October. It hasn't happened till now, and that's what needs to happen. You want to change the situation, release the hostages now with no preconditions. It's an absolute outrage that the world thinks it's okay to bargain with the lives of these little children and the civilian population that were taken on the 7th of October, 2023.
Thank you very much, Roley, and we'll all remember what you have said.
All right.